All right, welcome back. This is Cult of Elections, and today we're going to be going over a 2024 election night prediction that has a scenario with Josh Hawley for the Republicans and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC, for the Democrats. And this was a viewer suggestion as I fill out safe Democrat states, standard states, of course. So yeah, viewer suggestion, and I believe this is the first one I've done. I originally wanted to do a viewer suggestion sort of thing, but like with the more dumb ideas as like its own video. But yeah, I'm gonna fill out some safe Republican seats, or seats, states. I keep saying seats. I probably said it in a previous video. So yeah, but yeah, viewer suggestion, Progressive Rising suggested this, and we can throw Missouri in the safe column. Josh Hawley being from there, safe to say that would be safe, definitely. West Virginia, and we'll come back to Alaska in a second. But yeah, if you have a suggestion, I'm all ears, even if it's a dumb one. I plan on making a dumb viewer suggestion video in the future. But yeah, if you have a serious one too, I really don't mind doing it. Yeah, because this is completely a viewer suggestion video. So, all right, going into this, I actually had to do some research on some Josh Hawley positions because he's not like super well-known politician. Like, obviously I knew him, however I didn't know his exact beliefs on a lot of things. So he is definitely like a Republican, yeah, but he goes a little left on some things, makes some Republican policies more fair, so to say. So I'm going to put Alaska in the safe column for him. I think subtract some Trump hate across the country, that would help. I'm going to say Montana goes back to that column too. But other than that, no more safe states. Okay, so yes. For likely states, Colorado, New Mexico, Virginia. I've talked about it a lot of times before. Progressive candidates do not do as good in head-to-head polling against, say, more centrist Democrats. And we saw this in the Trump versus Biden, Trump versus Sanders, Trump versus Warren, Trump versus blank. Biden significantly outperformed the progressive candidates in head-to-head poll matchups. So we have no reason to believe that a progressive candidate would do so good on the Electoral College map. So these states, all borderline safe, remain in the likely column, probably losing Democratic support slightly at least. And as for likely states, for Hawley, we're going to jump right into Texas here. I received comments saying AOC being a Hispanic would help garner support. However, I think that is definitely offset by the fact that she is a farther left candidate, meaning she would not get support in a lot of places that are super duper close, I guess. It may help her in some ways. However, as far as we know, Latino, Hispanic, whatever you want to call it, voters, they usually don't really show up to vote as compared to their percentage of the population nationwide. So if we can say she's gonna fuel them to vote, maybe we can see some changes, but right now we don't see that. So Iowa and Ohio, Hawley is a lot like Trump. However, he doesn't have the Trump attitude, and he's a little bit different on some issues, just a little bit. So yeah, moving on here. That should be all of the likely states. I just want to make sure. Okay, so as for leaners, we're going to hop into Minnesota, New Hampshire, and Maine. I said in my previous video that AOC would, definitely keep these states. I wouldn't say definitely, but likely. Like, Hawley is, he's a right-winger, for sure. He's not really close to the center. But I think he would do better than, say, Kristi Noem. And if you want to see AOC definitely beating ass, oh, I just swore. Oops. Alright, we'll keep that in the video. Did not mean to do that. Okay, but if you want to see her absolutely beat down on the Electoral College, then go and watch that video, because this video clearly is not that. I will put Maine's 2nd Congressional District in their column too. I think they are an area that likes to vote for change a lot. Voted for Obama twice, voted for Trump twice. They seem to be able to go either way. And I think Hawley would have sort of a Missouri outreach to Nebraska's 2nd District, pushing it to the lean Republican column. I think the outreach alone would be able to bring that back, because they voted for a Republican in the House. They're not afraid to vote for Republicans. They may just have been afraid of Trump. And we've seen that across the country, where a lot of Republican candidates outperformed Trump in a number of races. So yeah, moving on. We are going to hop into Nevada. Rock solid Nevada. I think it loses support. I think she wins it by about, let's say, 1.1, 1.2 points in this scenario. It was largely the same when a lot of the country shifted left. Actually, a large majority of the country shifted left between 2016 and 2020. Nevada largely remained the same, but that's not something to ignore. Nevada could definitely be a key state in the 2024 race. However, that's the only evidence we have. We don't have evidence of them voting Republican. We might see something in the 2022 midterm, where, say, a Republican wins the Senate spot there. But right now, I'm going to say it's blue. Florida, I'm going to put in the lean Hawley column. I've said this a lot of times. Cubans down there did not vote for Biden because the Republican Party painted him as a socialist, him and Democrats in general as socialist. And a lot of them have said, no, we aren't socialists, we are democratic socialists. They're Biden at all. Not even saying he's socialist in the slightest. But they still got that. However, AOC does say she's a socialist. And that will not resonate with Cuban voters down in Florida. So I definitely think there's only points to gain in this matchup. And this will be a borderline likely state in this situation. And I think you would think Georgia is a more traditionally Republican state. I would give that to Hawley too, because you can subtract Trump hate, and progressives will not be able to garner a lot of support down in the South. And for that reason, I'm going to put North Carolina in that column too. I think the more suburban areas in North Carolina and Georgia will not resonate with progressives as much as they would hope. But yeah, we're going to hop into Arizona, and I think this goes to the tilt Republican column. I definitely think some Latino support would come and help AOC in this situation. However, it wouldn't be enough to overcome a subtract Trump hate and the fact she's a progressive candidate. Definitely not. I'm going to put Wisconsin in the lean Republican column here as well, giving Hawley the victory ultimately. Yeah, it's pretty much another state. It's not like the South, but somewhat similar. If I have Minnesota moving from likely to lean, there's really no reason I have Wisconsin staying in the tilt Democrat column or anything. I definitely think progressives might scare off some people. So yeah, we can go ahead and someone actually commented and said Michigan might be tilt Democrat. I think Hawley's gun policies is what's really going to hurt him out of the state of Michigan. In that he is very pro Second Amendment. Very, very, very pro Second Amendment. And that will not resonate with a lot of voters around the Detroit area, which a large portion of the state lies. And that may keep them from voting for Hawley. And as I've said in a previous video, I think a possible New York Northeast outreach may keep AOC in the keeping Pennsylvania. So yeah, there you have it. 274 for Josh Hawley, 264 for AOC. There's a couple tilt states here, so really this could go either way. And you might say, wow, based on what you were talking about earlier, I would have expected Josh Hawley to win this by a lot. But you have to remember, Hawley is, in a lot of cases, a typical Republican candidate. He is very, very pro-Second Amendment. He heavily supports Trump, which could show as a problem if he runs in the future, as a lot of the country absolutely despises Trump. He does have some things going for him. He wants to severely limit the big pharma in the country, which is another Trump thing, but a lot of people may have overlooked because his name is Donald Trump. But they may not overlook that with Josh Hawley. So yeah, there you have it. Again, if you want to see a video where AOC does extremely well, I recommend checking out my Kristi Noem versus AOC 2024 presidential election. However, this matchup, I don't think she would win. And there's not a lot of matchups I think she would. At least in 2024. That is not to say that she can't be president sometime in her career. She has a long one ahead of her. But right now, the country is just not progressive enough. Be sure to like the video. Leave a comment. Like I said, suggest something down below. Or if you have a comment on how this map looks, I'm all ears, you know. Some of your suggestions may show up in a video, like, say, Michigan. I got a comment about Michigan. So yeah, you may never know what shows up in a presidential prediction, or what I may do a prediction on. So yeah, leaving a comment, important. And subscribe for more daily content. Peace.